Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated.
NerdVision! For those of you familiar, that was to the tune of not a Marvel television show. Might be the other guy. But welcome to our NerdVision.
Welcome.
WandaVision. Welcome, travelers. So we are getting deep into this. Again, welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are two 30 to 40 something year olds who talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. You guys might know us online as Guyver and K-Sig. And with us as always for our Nerdkies on WandaVision, our special guest Justin. How you doing today? Or tonight, I guess.
Happy Valentine's Day to both of you.
We're recording. We are recording this on Valentine's Day in the middle of the historic coldest it's ever been recorded in Oklahoma right now.
Nice. But
so
I've got special Valentine's for both of you, but you have to go to our Every Man's Guide to Nerddom OnlyFans page to see it. So
$2.99 a month.
Happy VD to all.
Literally, we all get VDs.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this. But before we dive into episode 6, which is called All New Halloween Spooktacular. Holy shit. That's basically what I got to say about the episode. Holy shit.
There you guys have it.
all right,
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
These guys didn't cover anything at all.
All they said was holy shit and then fell asleep.
1 star.
Huh.
Typical
Only
Valentine's
for 20
Day.
minutes. We were ready to go after that.
Just need to rest my eyes for a second.
Holy shit. So we're going to go frame by frame it again, just because I love how we're doing it this way. And I think that's how we're going to continue doing Nerkies, just because it's fun. And just to dive deep into this and try and analyze it. But again, holy shit. All right. So I'm hitting play, gentlemen. Of course, we start off with the typical Marvel Studios logo. But what I loved about the start of this episode is we have Billy and Tommy talking to one another. Did you all catch what happened at the very beginning? Well, okay, so it looks like that they are starting with an old 90s cassette player or video camera. Because in the corner you have like the widescreen and like the tracking and everything and like the battery levels and how long you have into it. 16-bit.
Mm-hmm. And you know what this is parodying, right?
Yes. Do you?
Yes, the whole Malcolm in the Middle opening. I mean, even the fonts are the same.
Oh, and the way that it kind of did the glitching like a VCR. I thought it was great. And Wanda as Lois. Yes.
Yeah, which is brilliant, how it keeps going forward. And so I'm wondering, what's the next phase, what the next show, or if they're just going to drop it at some point once it actually comes up to, real time. But I'm pulling some Game of Thrones or something like.
I've heard next one is going to be Modern Family.
Okay. Pass.
So what I loved about this though is it's parroting Malcolm in the Middle, but at the same time, it's very WandaVision. Like when Wanda is brushing her teeth and shoos him out of the bathroom to close the door, and instead her hand glows red with the hex power and shuts it. When they
Mhm.
mess with Vision, he walks through the couch. And then it says the Vision, which I just thought was just brilliant. And then for you two who have a thing for Agnes with her bedazzled butt jeans or like sweats she was wearing at the fridge.
Yeah. Very,
What did it say on it? Do you
Yeah.
guys know? I could never catch that.
I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna pause it again. I think it says naughty.
No. Let's
Got a
go
really
back
good-
to I'm gonna pause it again. How
Well,
many
I
times
missed
did
it the
you
first
pause
time.
sir?
No, we just got the first pause right now. Hey, Agnes.
It's been paused since Friday for Kyle.
Mm-hmm. I saw somebody made a comment about
it says naughty.
the
It does.
it says naughty in the someone made a comment about the font that was used when she bedazzled her ass in naughty, that it didn't seem like the typical whimsical style butt font, I guess you could say, is that you would normally see. Someone know that it seemed like it was a little more not nefarious. What's the word I'm looking for?
Naughty.
Modern.
It's kind of Halloween style. Like if you were, making like Halloween cards or something, you would something that was spooky, you would use that style. No, let me pause it again and see here.
I could kind of see that.
Yeah. Maybe somebody, a little bit of a stretch with it, but
Right. So
I'm still
did you
doing the
guys
frame by
catch?
frame. Yeah. But
When you do frame by frame, did you catch what the hand-drawn picture was on the refrigerator?
What was it?
It's WandaVision, Billy, Tommy, and Scruffy, the dog. May or may not be important
Oh, yeah.
later.
That's cool.
So, and then love as Pietro came out is, with the super speed. Loved that part. And then,
Yeah.
like the classic Malcolm in the Middle opening. So I thought they did a great job with that. So we
Giving
have
little noogies there.
Yes. So we had who's the one who comes down the stairs? Is that Billy or Tommy? That's Billy, isn't it? Or is it Tommy?
Billy has the
I'm
long
not sure.
hair.
Tommy is Speed. So is Billy who came down.
That was Billy.
Yeah. So Billy came down, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but I died when he came down because he was dressed up with a blue headband and a red cape. Did you guys catch what the reference to this was?
I found out later what it was.
Go ahead, sir.
Just to make that's his Wiccan. In the
That's
comics,
his costume
that's
for
his,
Wiccan.
Yeah.
So I just died at that. I'm like, oh, that is so awesome. Like, I just thought it was clever how they already pulled it into canon. And then you've got Tommy as Speed, which is basically kind of his costume, kind of not. And then did the house change on this episode? I couldn't tell on the kitchen.
It seems like the stairs are definitely in a different place.
Okay. So you think they did?
It doesn't have that runner like it was, and the stairs were against the wall.
Right.
The stairs were out a little ways. So I think every time it's changing. And this looks a whole lot like the Malcolm in the Middle house, where it had, even like the curtains on the windows in the kitchen. I mean,
Right.
a bunch of things that it's like, okay, yeah, it's very reminiscent. So yeah, I think they're changing the houses every time.
So, the boys are talking, and then it does a classic Malcolm in the Middle, like flashback scene to something else that they were doing. and they're playing, Dance Dance Revolution, which I just thought was hilarious.
There's something from this scene because everybody was trying to figure out like time frame wise. Is this early 2000s? When was it? And there's a little hint in this scene that can give you a rough time frame of when it would have to, at minimum year would be, because Tommy is wearing a Minecraft beanie. Minecraft
I
has got
didn't
a
catch that.
Yeah, I just now caught it as we're doing the frame by frame thing. So it's going to put it like, if it's staying true to staying within a time frame, it's going to put like minimum 2009, 2010.
So we're getting more modern.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what they were talking about? What they were arguing about?
There's some
And, like-
something dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's just about dinosaurs, which I don't think had any reference to anything. I think it was just two kids.
Yeah.
Because I was just struggling to try and figure out, does this have a reference? Does it not?
Like, I mean, like I said, we can go through and just pick it apart, like one frame at a time, and we'll catch some stuff, and we'll miss on some stuff, but I think we catch more than we miss.
I think we do too. So then, of course, the boys are walking into the living room with their breakfast. And then they go in the living room, and there's their uncle Pietro asleep on the couch.
Something I noticed when he was laying on the couch, and I've seen this in a few other episodes too, that there's some, they have their depth of field of view where everything, your typical shot, everything that's closer is really in focus, but there's some fuzziness around him, and I noticed that in a few other episodes too, that it wasn't like an out of focus fuzziness trying to maintain the focus on what's in the foreground, but it was like an odd fuzziness out of focus around him in sections.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Like, and he's displaced.
Yeah, and I noticed that in a couple of other episodes with like Wanda and stuff, sometimes when it was something that would seem a little bit out of place for the show, or for if that was actually set in a sitcom, or if it was something where she seemed a little bit off, that the focus changed, where some things were kind of more blurry than just changing your camera focus on the subject.
I don't know, because now that I'm thinking about that, like, I've got a ton of notes for this episode.
Yeah, if you go watch some of the other episodes, you'll see that too.
Could be as easy as a stylistic choice of how they're going to shoot it.
Okay. So Pietro gets up. He's listening to them, acting like he's sleeping. Then he gets up, and this is the first time we see his super speed, which I just thought was awesome. Because to me, this proves he is Pietro somehow. He is Quicksilver. But how? And he's just having fun with the kids. And then Wanda came down in her Halloween costume, which was, to me, one of the best throwback Easter eggs ever, because it was her classic Scarlet Witch costume from the comics.
And she looks hot.
So. And she looks extremely hot in it. That helped.
Yeah.
I was going to wear the same thing. Apparently it didn't have the same effect. So,
just for Valentine's Day, or was this before that?
Like, we're not talking about me right now. Okay. We're gonna go on.
Just tuck it.
It could be all. It's tuck it. It could be all week.
But when she came down, I was like, how's she going to explain who she is or what she is to everybody? And so she said she was a Sokovian fortune teller. So that's the costume of a Sokovian fortune teller, apparently. But I wondered how they were going to, because if this was this, then, or if she was wearing this, then Vision definitely was going to be wearing his classic outfit too. And
And
then,
he did not disappoint.
and so I was like, okay, well, how are they going to explain these costumes? So I thought that was interesting. Sokovian fortune teller, and then when we get to Vision, we can talk about that.
So that was awesome. And then Vision comes down the stairs and he is wearing the classic Vision costume, except it's like basketball shorts and a cape. And the thing that I love the most that my wife actually pointed out to me is the Mind Stone is part of the costume. So when they go to the side view, it's kind of popping out
It's
from
like
his
it's
head.
sewn to the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I just loved. And the classic Vision ears, like he's got like 2 cans in his ear, like over his ear holes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So which I thought was just great.
So can I back up just for one thing?
Yep. Yeah. No, back up. Oh,
It was interesting whenever they, Pietro was saying, that's lame, and then had a flashback to when those two, when they were young, trick or treating in Sokovia, and they got like a herring or something.
yes.
That shows that they are sharing the same memories. It shows that this is actually her brother. It's not somebody impersonating or anything else like that. Because up to this point, we know that he's from the Fox universe, now the all-encompassing Disney universe. But in the show, they haven't had any share. It's just like, hey, there's my brother, and everyone's just like, okay, well, I guess he changed faces. But now we actually see proof that it is her brother because they're sharing that memory. So I think that's really important, and that also comes back in this episode too here in a bit when she starts questioning them about things. But
Well, and that's gonna bring up a bigger debate, I think, because theories are abound right now, and I honestly, I don't know what the hell to think right now. Like all the stuff we thought we knew could be wrong. I think some of the stuff that we're talking about is absolutely right. But I think some of it just, I don't know. They're throwing us for a loop right now.
Like part of me hopes we're wrong in a really good way, so that we have that good, moment as it starts wrapping up. That we got some right, but then there's something that we just didn't see coming at all, and it makes sense when it happens. Not something that we didn't see coming at all, and we're like, oh well, shit, like that good twist ending thing. I think it's fun when we feel like we can really predict some of the bigger arcing things, but like the little things, like we wouldn't have guessed that Pietro was coming back, or Peter, or
Right.
Peter Pietro, or whatever. And so that was a good moment. I'm just hoping for like a good, like not asking for much, like 5 to 12 more of those moments before this is all wrapped up.
Right. Well, and wasn't that flashback you were talking about, wasn't that after they donned their costumes, or was it during this part?
It was right before Vision came down the stairs.
Okay, so it was then?
Yeah.
Okay. So
really brief.
Yeah,
brief.
that's right. So I would like to point out, did you guys catch the Easter egg in that scene? I remember I wrote this down.
I looked for something, but I didn't catch anything.
Wanda has red hair and it's tied in a braid down one side.
Mm-hmm.
Pietro has a patch over his right eye with like some scars. They're dressed up as Black Widow and Nick Fury.
Oh. Did not notice that.
Nice.
So if you look at them, it's a nod to Black Widow and Nick Fury. And I think that ties back into her time with the Avengers.
So why is Black Widow, I guess that's spider antenna that she's wearing? Like a Black Widow?
I don't know on that part. I just caught that they look like, if you look at ScarJo as Black Widow, if you remember her hair, was it Endgame maybe? There was one of them where she had her hair red and then it wasn't so red towards the end. It looked exactly like that. I just remember that standing out. And I don't know on the antenna, but I also remember on that part. I didn't remember it was right there. But Wanda's telling Pietro, I don't exactly remember it being that way.
Mm.
Which means there might be some discrepancy in this memory.
That could be Peter's memory and not
Mm-hmm.
Pietro's memory.
Mm-hmm. Or it could be, when we get further in the episode, we'll talk about this too, because there's some more theories I might have now too.
Well, and as
And I hope
they're
I'm wrong.
getting their Halloween fish, they're at the door. There's posters on each side, and one of them is like an atomic age type poster. You see the picture of the atom and the guy with his arms raised standing underneath it, but in his safety suit or whatever. And that was kind of the running idea in the X-Men movies for probably a good 3/4 of it, that the mutants didn't come about until the atomic age came about. But there were older ones before, but that was for the longest time until.
You think that's a nod?
Could be a nod, yeah. Until they introduced what was his name? Apocalypse.
Right.
There, it was the atomic age is what brought about the mutants. So, or awakened them, whatever.
I didn't even notice that. Good catch, sir.
Okay.
So they're talking again, and then do you remember what Billy's talking to the camera about?
Pietro being a man-child.
Oh yeah. And I think he just picked his nose and ate it at that point, or something like that. And then Vision comes down in his costume, and they're talking about how Vision's not. Is this where he talks about he's not going trick or treating? He's on duty.
He gets to it, yeah, because they couple of interesting things, because she's like, "Thank you for humoring me," and he says, "Well, this was there were no other clothes in my closet," and so that's a nod to he had no choice. She's limiting his choice of what he can do and what he can wear. So he said it was only a thing in the closet, but said something like, what was it? I know how much you like Mexican wrestlers. So that's how they are explaining his costume.
Lucha Libre.
A luchador, I guess. But yeah, that's where he comes in and says that he has to go. And that's when she says, "Wait, that's not what you're supposed to." And he interrupts her. He goes, "What?" So it's interesting. We're starting to see the break in Vision from what Wanda wants him to do, or controlling him at least.
Right. But then you see like the control come back, and they get this weird like flirty thing going on. And then he's talking about how he's going to go out and patrol the neighborhood, and I believe he says Pietro can take him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're all sitting there playing video games.
Yeah, Pietro comes in and says, "You need a father figure? I can do it." So he's the one that steps up and volunteers to go with him.
Right. And what was hilarious about this part is, they're fighting over the controllers, and like you're like, oh, he's the cool uncle, because Pietro's wearing like the classic 90s bro choker necklace. I don't know if you guys caught that. But then he teaches them how to shotgun some cola.
Yeah. It's a very handy life skill to have. And,
it is. And
developing
it was
it
cane
at an early
cola.
age. What was the significance of cane?
I don't know. But it said cane cola. So I don't know if it was just a generic or if it had anything to do with anything. But if you notice, the can was Vision colors.
God, they've gotten our head that we're just thinking everything is something now.
What is this chair? Why is this chair there?
We're counting the folds and the drapes. Like, I don't know.
Count the number of folds in the drapes and then divide it by 4, you get 113. And 113 is no, I'm
kidding. You're right.
I mean, you had me. I was waiting for that.
Well, 113 actually does come up in this somewhere, but we'll talk about it when it gets there.
Okay.
So then they're talking more, and then it's this is classic a la Malcolm in the Middle, where Billy is talking to the camera. But I don't know if you guys caught it. As he's talking to the camera, Tommy's just staring vacantly ahead like he's playing video games. But Pietro is looking at Billy.
Yeah, I noticed that the second time I watched it.
Yeah, because Billy's breaking the fourth wall. And no one else seems to notice. Just like in Malcolm in the Middle. But all of a sudden Pietro just kind of glances over and he's paying attention to what he's saying. Freaky.
Mhm.
So we have that, that makes us wonder a little bit more. Something going on. How does Pietro know this?
And say there's more instances that comes up later that
On that.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, with just him seeming to know way more than he should know.
Wanda's fourth wall, if you will. So yeah.
And then you have where Vision's just insistent that he goes on patrol, and Wanda's clearly distraught with this. But then Vision does this corny ha, and she lets him go. I don't know if you guys caught it too, but Vision goes out the door. You get a good glance at Pietro's arm. He scares her. He's got a tattoo that says "Mom" on his arm.
That's actually real.
Is it really?
Yeah, Evan Peters, that's actually a real tattoo.
Okay, so it's not a
Yes.
Marvel thing then.
I mean, it could be that it could be interpreted, but that's actually a real tattoo. So if you watch anything with like American Horror Story and things where he is sleeveless, he has it there too.
He did say
See, I
one
didn't-
line to Wanda as when he's like, talking about filling in, doing the dad role that some people kind of mulled over a little bit too, is a troll through the internets where he told her, don't sweat it, sis. I had the old XY chromosome. And some people are interpreting that as like any chance to throw the letter X in. To kind of get your mind turning, especially saying old X,
Mhm.
Y chromosome. So
Why? I don't know. Just something about this whole thing was just wholesome to me. This whole scene. It's like I said, it's just very a la Malcolm in the Middle, very 90s. And just something just familiar with it.
Yeah.
And and Pietro's, he goes to get changed into his costume and he grabs Tommy. And they blur out the door. And then all of a sudden they come back, and I died on this part because they were both in classic Quicksilver costumes, hair basically silver tipped, and up in the classic Quicksilver hair with like the kind of in the horns almost.
Mhm.
If you guys haven't seen, if you Google Quicksilver Marvel Comics, you'll see what we're talking about. It's like the lightning bolt in like made out of mercury going down the side on a classic blue costume
Mhm.
with a white belt. If you noticed, the white belt was even there.
yeah, I was just thinking the white belt was a very 90s bro, or 90s mid 2000s bro belt too, but
Oh, 100%.
Should I take off my white belt?
No, you
No.
keep it on.
Okay, good. Because it's after Labor Day, so
It's you're fine. You're fine.
thank you.
And then do you guys remember what they were talking about there after they came back? Because I do not.
Basically, they were just saying, "Hey, you can go, but just no funny business, or I'm gonna, I'm watching." So that was basically it. And then
No,
it
and
transitions over to the team outside.
on that. And I will give you all a full disclosure to our audience here. I got my COVID shot yesterday, and I am struggling right now. not feeling too hot, so stuff's a little fuzzy. So if it seems that I'm struggling to recall stuff, I am.
Well, at least you have an excuse. I'm just.
How's
It-
just rage?
So, who? What?
What are we watching again?
But I'm just struggling today. Like I am not feeling too hot, but we will go on. Next thing you guys know, Wanda's a little bit more distraught after all these events, like with Vision going out and not doing what she wants her to do. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the hex barrier, the hex field, is way, way more red than it originally was.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a direct correlation to Wanda being upset. So I think she's starting to lose a little bit more control.
Yeah.
Or is she gaining more control?
Because with that whole exchange with Vision and stuff, and with Pietro, and the kids, like you could just see from the look on her face, like this isn't how she wants this to go, and it's just
Right.
and it's happening without her intervention. And
Yeah,
so
she's losing control. So
Mhm.
of several different facets, and that is not going to be good for anybody.
Right.
Mhm.
It's so then, we looks like all the soldiers are mobilizing at this point too. Because something came out of the barrier. And I don't know if this is all happening like right after last episode when Wanda came out and threw the drone at them. I don't know. They bring in a drone basically. I don't know if this is the same drone or not.
I think it
It-
is.
You
It's
think so?
still cycling through the red of the hex powers.
Right. And so they're bringing it in. And so basically while this is going on, this is like real time.
It's
Mhm.
like bam. I
Well-
think this was bam bam, like one right after the other, because Monica's still wearing the same stuff that Oliver's sword get up that she was wearing in the
Right.
last episode that she probably picked up at the Sword HQ gift shop on her way out,
Right.
and so I think this is just like right after.
Yeah, and she's still angry about him shooting the missile or having the missile.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
this some time passed, I'm sure she wouldn't be as mad and upset in the moment. So yeah, I think it's literally picking up right where it left off.
Okay, so that would make sense. That makes a lot of sense actually. Monica's basically grilling Tyler at this point. And I don't know if you guys caught his face at this point when Monica's yelling at him. But if you look at his face reads "I'm a dick."
There it is.
That's what his face is saying. It's saying "I'm a dick." And like he's doing a great job of making me literally
Yeah.
hate this dude. Like he really is. He's playing it great. But like I hate this guy. She's grilling him, and then there's Jimmy and Darcy there. We love Darcy.
This made us feel better once we saw Darcy.
We love Darcy.
We're like, hey, we're dick.
And
Oh,
what did
Darcy. Okay, I feel better now.
There's a dick and there's Darcy. And what did Darcy say?
Something about it's the guy who almost got murdered by his own murder squad. Or
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then he looks at her and goes, "Do you work for me?"
I
And
like where he says, "Okay, well, who's the sassy best friend?"
Oh yeah.
Best friend. Definitely throwing back to the whole sitcom trope.
Yep.
That Wanda is going through. But I
Right.
honestly, the way that he's written is in the vein of a Killmonger, is in the vein of several that we've seen, to where you understand he's trying to protect you. You understand why he's doing what he's doing, but you still don't agree with some of these methods that he's going about doing it.
Well,
I think it's great. I really want to see where this character goes.
well, and if you think about it too, I mean, going back to the last Nerky, the Sokovia Accords are in full effect, and Sword's in charge of regulations and enforcing the Sokovia Accords,
Mhm.
which means that they regulate soups,
Mhm.
which means he has to make the tough calls.
Right. And Wanda's already broken 2 of the accords by having this and then also using Vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Breaking into the sword installation.
yeah.
I mean, it's established. Wanda's a super terrorist
Mhm.
in this reality. So, but one of the lines that stood out to me, it was just the funny Marvel writing, like being funny, I think without intentionally meaning to be funny, is when Tyler asks her, do you work for me? And she looks at him just matter of factly and says, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'd want to know
What's that?
I want to know where I'm getting my paycheck from.
That's right.
Be like, should I go talk to HR, or what do I need to do?
Which tent is the HR tent? I really would like to lodge a complaint.
Yeah,
Where's the
W2 this way? Okay, go that way. Okay, it's online. Okay, great.
Just past the Starbucks tent.
well,
Just
and
keep
then
going.
Monica comes back after Tyler again, and then Jimmy finally stands by like long enough, and he jumps in. Basically, you can't. We're all on the same team here. Is basically what he tells her.
Mhm.
You like what else aren't you telling us?
Well, and he has a good point. He says you're getting us into a war that we can't possibly win, and so they're trying to talk sense into, instead of, hey, let's go by force and try to take her, which isn't going to work at all. Let's try diplomacy. Let's try to talk to her. Let's try to figure this out. And that's where Monica and or Captain Rambo and
You can call her Monica.
Monica. Okay, great.
I think we're on first name basis
Okay,
here.
M Dog.
M Dog.
Yeah, M Dog and the rest of her crew. Yeah, they want to have a peaceful resolution, but not necessarily that is a zero-sum game to where everyone's killed and no one really wins. And so I think it's interesting, the 2 different dynamics that are at play here, wanting the same thing but going the different routes for it.
Right. Well, and then at this point too, Tyler brings up that you have no clue what happened in the 5 years that you were gone.
Mm.
You have no clue what we had to do to secure the world. The world went on while you were gone.
And also the dick move of pulling her mom into it.
Yeah.
Her mom.
Yeah.
Oh, her mom.
Mumsy. Yeah. He did. What did he say? He said something to the effect of, your mom would be ashamed.
Well, something like, I'm glad your mom isn't here to see, or something like
Mhm.
that. Because you don't have what it takes to do what needs to be done. Which, I mean, he's not wrong in the sense that he has to make the hard decisions, but at the same time, don't even bring a dead mom into it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was using that
and
as
Monica's face just kind of went down.
Yeah, he was just using that as like that snippy comeback, because before that she told him don't use the last 5 years as an excuse to be a coward. And so he said that. I was like, "Ooh," and then he came back, was like, "Oh." that's just a
and that
unnecessary comeback.
Well, and that shitty smirk on his face, and then his eyebrow. I don't know if you guys caught it, but his eyebrows kind of raised, like your mom would be ashamed. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that dude's a dick.
Mm-hmm. So you see the background.
I don't know if you guys caught it, but I think Tyler's a dick.
So director Dick was, well, while they were having this exchange, this was showing the very same. While this was happening, as was when Vision was coming down the stairs. I mean, his Lucha Libre classic outfit. And so that's kind of where we are at on the outside of the Hexdrome to what's going on the inside. So
yeah, all the monitors are it's really cool to watch all the monitors in the back of the scenes, so you can line up what's happening when.
Yeah.
So So the things that we've seen are actually now happening in real time, and so that is a cool little nod to the time frame.
Yeah.
A little placeholder. So all this goes down, and then Director Dick tells the guards, "Get him out of here. You're off. You know, get them off my base." Her and her little fan club, basically,
Mhm.
which is Darcy and Jimmy. And you know, Jimmy just looks confused by this. And so this next part, they're being led outside by force by the guards off the base. Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy. Jimmy's in front. And this is probably one of my favorite scenes from the entire damn series right here. They're being let out, and then all of a sudden, Jimmy turns around and just haymakers the guard that's behind him. And this establishes that Jimmy's just not this happy-go-lucky, you know, FBI agent. He's actually a badass.
Yeah, in the Wasp, he was kind of that clumsy, dorky guy, FBI agent that always got fooled. And yeah, so they're a little bit of a retcon in the sense of he's not actually that guy. He's actually a little bit more of a badass. So yeah, I like that they're adding that.
He went from Jimmy Woo to
Thank you.
Jimmy Woo,
Good.
and just freaking
Jimmy,
floppy.
woo!
Jimmy Woo.
The Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Did he do the walk?
Oh, that would be.
Did he do the
That's
strut?
meme worthy. Somebody needs to make that.
Jimmy, woo! Oh, I think I might do that now. Jimmy, woo!
I want to see that on my desk
Um,
first thing in the morning.
But if you think about it, he kind of has to be. If he's the FBI liaison to the superheroes who are under house arrest, like Ant-Man, Hawkeye, not so much Ant-Man, but at least Hawkeye. We know Barton's a badass.
Mhm.
Scott has cunning. That's his main thing. But then Jimmy, you know, woo, you know, just haymakers this guard. And Monica does the same. And I don't know if you guys caught Jimmy doing the backhand, the bitch slap to the guard, but that was awesome. And Monica's doing the same, and Darcy's standing there.
Upset. Nobody told her about the plan.
They grab their
I
guns.
love that.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, isn't that what she said? Nobody told me.
What about the plan?
the
Nobody
plan.
told me about the
Yeah.
plan. Oh, Darcy.
And so they drag off their bodies and put them in shipping containers, and they put on their costumes like you do in any good game.
Yeah.
Like Hitman. And then you have, you know, they're walking out, and then the next thing you see the kids coming up, talking, breaking the fourth wall again, and talking to the camera. What was unique about this scene? Do you guys know? The first thing on this scene.
Right when
Well,
they
they're
started.
all wearing their costumes.
Mm-hmm.
They're all wearing.
Yep, they're all wearing their costumes. Something even more important than that.
Hmm.
I think you guys are way overthinking this too.
Okay, tell us then.
They're together as a family.
If you remember they're a family. If you remember when Vision, our last episode where Vision and Wanda had their big blow up at each other in the air, Vision yells at Wanda. It was before they're up in the air. Why aren't there any kids in this town besides ours?
Oh, okay.
I go by the park every day and there's no kids. This scene is full of kids.
A plethora of children.
And that's huge because
Raid
before
preschool or something.
they raided
Where
something.
was she keeping all these kids?
Pocket Universe.
Oh.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that's what hit me at first. Is there's kids right after she got called out for it. And then the kids run off and Pietro yells raise hell, which I thought was just, I'm like, okay, goes back to Chris's theory. Is this Mephisto? Is this Dormammu? Is this Nightmare?
Raise hell, demon spawn.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. And
Well, in
yeah.
Billy and Tommy were both created using parts of Mephisto's soul, and so him saying "unleash hell, demon spawn"
Yeah,
has to be a direct, correlation to a callback to that for sure.
Right.
No, this scene where you guys like going through just trying to find anything in the Halloween costume from the kids.
Yep.
And so like
Yeah.
I just looked and nothing really jumped out and grabbed me. I mean, you saw like the kind of Freddy Krueger Jason mashup in the background. I don't know if you pause it just like right when it cuts into that scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There is in there. Right behind him.
And in that yard, there's a cauldron with 3 witches around it, and there's a bunch of witch hats and stuff around. Which it's Halloween. Oh yeah, probably not a nod to Scarlet Witch at all or any of that. It's probably just Halloween stuff. Yeah,
but cool little thing.
I didn't see any of that. I'm just staring at Wanda's boobs.
Yeah, hold on.
Not that I blame you.
Oh, Wanda. Where's Agnes?
If you guys want to know what their backgrounds are, there's going to be a mashup of just Agnes's bedazzled butt and apparently Wanda's boobs on their desktops tomorrow.
I'm okay.
There is there's a mummy. There's a lot of really generic costumes. That is something that caught my eye. Like things were super generic. It's like, hey, I'm stuck in this hex bubble I created, and the only place that can deliver Halloween stuff for all these kids is like Wish.com. But you were still able to get the stuff in. Like I see a genie, like I dream a genie, and just nothing really jumped out and grabbed me. That's an obvious.
So, yeah, and there was none of the slutty cats or mice or any of that back then. This is, like you said, just a very generic Halloween.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The most creative costumes were definitely Billy and Tommy, who were different. Wanda and Pietro are talking, and then the boys run back up, and Pietro asks Billy and Tommy, I wrote this down, how about you let Uncle P help you maximize your candy acquisition, huh? Well, and they reply,
there's an important scene that happens before that.
Oh, go.
It's where Wanda starts asking him, hey, do you remember the name of that kid that had something on his face? And Peter's like, you're testing me, aren't you? And she's like, no, I'm not testing you. And so he said, it's cool. If I, he said something about how, I look different or something like that. And she's like, why do you look different? And he said, you tell me. And I thought it was interesting. I mean, if I found Shangri-La, I would be, and goes on. Do you know the significance of Shangri-La?
Mm-mm.
That's what I was.
Wait, isn't that where Iron Fist is from?
No, that is oh shoot. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's different. It's a place that's down by Eufaula.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So Shangri-La
shit.
Founded by a version of Vision. And so I think it was White Vision, if I remember right, founded Shangri-La in the comics. And so I don't know if he's referring to the mythical Shangri-La that is the paradise type of thing, or if he's actually referencing Vision's Shangri-La.
Shangri-La, right? Which it could be. My guess is probably Vision's Shangri-La.
Yeah.
But he actually said, you know, if I would have found Shangri-La, I wouldn't want to be reminded of the past either. And so this is him breaking that fourth wall, if you will, and saying, you know, hey, I know what's going on. And that's when the boys walk up. And so they don't really address why he looks different. They don't really address him saying to her, hey, you know, you're the one that brought me here, and I don't blame you because this place is awesome. So it doesn't address any of that because the boys then walk up, and then that's where your notes take over, Chris.
Okay. Well, thank you for bringing that up because I completely forgot about that. So he asks if Uncle P wants to maximize their candy acquisition, and I thought this is kind of important because this could have two different meanings. The boys reply kick ass, which I started cracking up about.
Me too.
Why is this important? Kick ass could be referring to both versions of Pietro, Evan Peters and
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
yeah, they were both in Kick Ass, the movie Kick Ass, which is a Marvel acquisition, by the way. Could this mean that, because Marvel put out the comic too, could this mean that Kick Ass is in the same universe? Could this mean that Kick Ass is another multiverse that they were both in, or is this just a nod to Kick Ass? I just thought that was hilarious, though, that they mentioned that. And again, both versions of Peter and Pietro were in the movie Kick Ass.
I think that's where the nod lies in it.
Yeah. Whenever she said it, I let out a little squeal because I was like, oh my gosh. And of course my wife was like, what? And it was like, the guy that played originally the first Quicksilver, he was Kick-Ass, and she said Kick-Ass. And then I think they were both in the movie. So the Kick-Ass, but once I started thinking about it, it was like, I think it's just a fun nod to it. I don't think it's trying to open up the whole Kick-Ass universe where Jim Carrey comes in as an awful redo of Nick Cage. Now, if Nick Cage somehow came in not as, what's his face? Shoot, who did he play in the movies? Ghost Rider. Thank you. So if he doesn't come in as Ghost Rider and instead comes in as Big Daddy, then I'd be all for that. But,
I hope.
I think it's more of a nod.
I hope with the whole multiverse thing that there is a universe out there somewhere that we haven't seen yet, where every superhero, supervillain, mutant is actually Nick Cage. Like he's just all of them.
That would be so amazing.
I would watch that 100 times over.
Mm-hmm. Even the women.
Yeah.
All Nick Cage.
Just a big Nick Cage-averse everywhere.
If you've
the Cage-averse.
Any videos on Chris's social media, you know that it's totally easy to do to put a deep fake as Nick Cage is everything.
You hear that, Marvel? We have the technology.
I like the Cage-averse.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it. We just don't want to spend a lot of money.
So we're just going to deep fake Nick Cage onto everybody.
Everything. Where is it? I had another. Okay, you guys talk about this one part right here because I had something else written down, but I can't remember what it references. It's like, when you write down something when you were younger and we got drunk and it was like monkey taco toilet paper and it was hilarious. And you ask your friends, what the hell was this? And you're like, I don't know, dude, but it was hilarious last night. That's kind of my note right now.
Okay.
It's not a complete sentence. It's just words. Yes, like a note for this episode, like around this part, but I can't figure out what it is.
Well, the right about there is where he tells Tommy. Wait, Tommy is Speed, right?
Tommy's Speed
Okay,
and Billy's Wiccan.
there you go. So he tells Tommy, "I feel the need for speed," and so great Top Gun reference, but
Yes.
actually naming and saying, "Hey, I'm going to grab your hand. I feel the need for speed," and that's his superhero name, and so it was kind of a nice nod to that. But that's where Wanda sees Herb, I think it is
Neighbor.
the neighbor, and says, "Hey," um, and apparently everything's going on behind him, which was kind of funny. What? We're out of candy. Oh, now people are smashing pumpkins. Now everyone has silly string on them, and so we can see it all happening in the background, and so can Wanda. But then she asks him about Vision, and that's when he says, "No, Vision isn't working tonight." But he also says, "Is there anything you need? Do you want me to change anything?" And so it seems like there's more people that are falling into the idea of they kind of know what's going on and they're just trying to make her happy in this pocket little neighborhood universe.
Right. Is this where she said, "Don't go beyond the street"?
That was later.
I think that's
Later. Okay.
After they're
All right.
in
So
front of the movie
I
theater.
think that's what it. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was referencing. But then she sees Herb, if you're from England,
Weird.
and he's dressed up like Frankenstein, Herb. And then in the back, I love how she's talking to him, but you can see Pietro and the boys like smashing pumpkins, silly stringing people, taking their candy, like you name it, they're doing all sorts of mischief.
Yeah.
But here's what I thought was super, super interesting about this. If you didn't catch this, while they're doing this, all the kids are moving fine. But while they're in super fast motion, she's talking to Herb and he's saying, basically, Vision isn't on, I'm the one on duty. When she's talking about this, adults aren't moving now. When they're smashing the pumpkins and doing other things, the person who's dressed up like the witch from the witches in the background isn't moving there.
Ooh.
At all. Then it goes to the people when they're getting silly stringed, like the Asian lady dressed up like the cat, and then the guy, I don't know what he's dressed up, but he has like the Michael Jackson like hat, and then the other person with him, the ghost, they're not moving at all either.
I think the witch is a decoration.
And this is on top of when she just. You think so?
Yeah, I think you can see.
I think she's a person.
I think you can see a stick propping her up. If it's not a decoration, that is freaking creepy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Well,
hard to tell. I think you're right though. But the other three are not decorations. No. But there's people not moving in this. And then if you look, I don't know if this is in reference to the pirate wasn't moving either. That Wanda's losing, concentration, or that this is supposed to be that they're moving so fast everything else looks like it's stopped.
Yeah, that's how I took it. It's kind of throwback to Days of Future Past, whenever he was running through and pulling the bullet down and running through the water and doing all of that in the kitchen scene. So I think
it's a great
throwback
scene.
to not necessarily, Wanda not losing her power. Probably one of my favorite scenes of any movie that year. It was just so good. But I think it's to show that they're moving so fast. It looks like they're still, that everyone else is still, but that's just how fast they're moving.
See, and I want to say yes, I agree with you, but like there's the guy in like the leather jacket, he's moving when he's getting silly stringed. If you go forward a little bit, there are people moving when they're doing stuff.
Let's see.
There's just certain people who 10:50.
Yeah, it's not until they actually go past that they move again. So watch it again, like 10:48, 10:49, 10:50. So
Like that.
55. So
Yeah, you might be right there.
they start moving. So
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so it's probably just a throwback to like the X-Men movie where he's moving so fast everything looks like it's standing still. I was wrong. Mark that up. Are we boring you, sir?
Me?
Yeah, you marked it. Yes.
No, I just marked it.
Don't you yawn.
I had a yawn. It's been one of them days.
I know it has. I'm the same dude. So you have Vision walking down the street. Next, and here's where things start getting creepy. Because Vision's well outside of town square where Wanda is. He's walking down the street, and he's kind of looking around at the kids moving, but then he looks at this yard where this lady is hanging up one of those skeleton ghosts, but she's looking off into the nothingness.
and the husband behind her too.
Yeah, and the husband behind her. He keeps picking up this pumpkin and putting it down at the exact same motion. She's trying to hang one of the ghosts up in this repetitive motion, but it keeps going back and forth. And then he looks closer, and the lady's crying. There's a tear that runs down her face, which shows she's in pain.
Mhm.
Not necessarily physical pain, but psychological pain. She's crying out, literally crying out. Vision walks down, and then we get to our creepiest commercial yet.
Oh man. This thing was dark.
Yeah.
So let me get to my notes on this one. Yeah, this one was so on this commercial. It was a commercial for Yo Magic. It was done in complete late 90s claymation, when they used to do everything in claymation. It's this little boy sitting on this deserted island surrounded by water with, just a fishbone and a crab. And he's just saying how hungry he is. And all of a sudden, this shark on the surfboard comes out. And he says, do you guys remember what he said? I'm trying to find it.
It was so hungry he'd
So
eat
something
anything.
about and the shark's like, I used to be like that too.
Yeah, he's hungry.
right.
I remember hungry. I used to be like that all the time.
But then, what did they say? They said something.
Until I snacked on Yo Magic, bro. So
But he said he got it from something, though, didn't he?
They said, hungry, I remember hungry. Used to be like that all the time.
yeah.
Kid asked, what did you do? He said, snacked on
I
Yo
think-
Magic, bro. Now I have time to hang Finn. And the kid asked, can I have some? He says, here you go, little dude. Tosses him the yogurt, does the cool glasses flip, and swims away with his
That's right.
surfboard. And then the kid is just like struggling. Can't
So
open Yo Magic.
Messed up.
So going to my Infinity Stone, each commercial represents an Infinity Stone. This could be like the Soul Stone. Because the Soul Stone represents like you have to sacrifice something, death, to get it. But in order for this kid to survive, he had to get Yo Magic. I don't think that this is saying that he got his magic from, or Wanda's got her magic from somewhere. Like it could be someone siphoning off of Wanda's powers right now. Like, I got Yo Magic. And I'm going to get an eye roll from Justin here. The shark could represent Mephisto. See, he's shutting his eyes so to stop the eye roll, but I see the infinite loop getting ready to start. But I'm saying this could be it.
It could be, but I still think each commercial represents a tragic memory, a tragic time in Wanda's life.
Right.
So
I agree with that.
could be after Vision dies, she feels all alone, and it's not until she uses Yo Magic and creates this town that she is able to feel normal again and live, and so she felt like she was dying until she started using Yo Magic. So that's where I think I can see the whole Mephisto thing, but
but it could be, while the others represent the trauma in her past, this could be like the current.
yeah, it could definitely.
This could be like, something is playing off of Wanda while keeping her placated. Siphoning off her magic right now. And that's what Yo Magic could be. I don't know. Kyle, you have any thoughts?
Well, not along those lines. But there is something missing from this commercial that's missing from all the other previous commercials. So leading up to this, every commercial had the man and the woman who a lot of people think represented her parents. That was her tie to her past. That was her family. And now Pietro shows up, and mom and dad are no longer in the commercials. So it's done away with that. So I think we'll, next, if we get another sitcom episode, I think we're probably only down to one, maybe two more, and we're going to be like all real world stuff. See if the mom and pop figure shows back up in the commercial. But this is the first one that
reappear.
That did not have those two in it, and Pietro's here. So.
And at the end of the commercial, the kid dies because he can't open the Yo Magic.
So dark.
It is. This is the most fucked up commercial that we've seen yet. I mean, the commercials haven't been normal, but this one was terrible.
Yeah. Did you catch the hot take that Kyle had? So after this, we're going to go to the real world. So he thinks that the next show is going to be the real world. So it's going to be when people stop getting real. What's that? What's the tagline to?
Damn it!
Let's start getting real.
Yeah, so that's Kyle's hot take, is that the next one is going to be the real world.
Dude.
So just rewind it, hit that back button a couple times, and you can hear what he's that hot take.
I would watch the shit out of Real World Westview right now. So, I mean, they are or it could be. I mean, they're in New Jersey, so
true.
Jersey Shore. Yeah.
Jersey, God, those people.
Agnes shows up.
Yes, I will say those people.
Yes. Agnes gets to be Snooki.
I don't care. Snooki's.
Snooki's what?
Sleeps, passes out in the dog bed. Agnes is sleeping in the dog bed again.
Just a hot tub shows up the house. They'll have like really overstyled hair. Big Jersey accents. There's a lot of gold. And
God,
then the next commercial
see Vision
is
as Pauly D.
It's like some version of Axe body spray. So,
or Vision's the Vision.
Or I was thinking maybe of Titus, pills or something. Since I'm sure they all have Hep C, probably. So.
Which we can joke about because there's no way in hell they're ever going to listen to this episode.
If they, hey, what up, Snooki?
Yeah. Hey, Snooki.
Hey, called dibs.
Go ahead.
You can have it.
Sure, fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All yours. So, Mrs. Justin, you heard it there first. Then they're walking out. Next thing, we go back to the real world. They're walking, looks like out of a movie theater.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch what the movies were?
Yeah. So both Disney movies. One about a superhero family.
Of 4? No, I guess there's 5.
Yeah. And then the other about a pair of twins. And so it's the Parent Trap. So yeah, it's.
And the first one's The Incredibles, if you didn't catch that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess I didn't say that. Yeah, The Incredibles. So both are relevant to what's going on in Westview.
So, which I just thought was kind of a clever nod, personally.
The movie theater is right outside of where Vision works too. That's the Compu whatever.
Is it?
Yeah, you can barely make it out.
Yeah.
But
Can you see it in the background?
Yeah.
Oh wow. And then what are Wanda and Pietro talking about here? Because I don't remember.
Basically, he's a bad influence on the boys, and so he's asking her, "What's your problem? Who beefed in your borst?" But this is where an interesting conversation comes up because he's saying, I'm just trying to do my part. I'm the create tension with the brother-in-law, make trouble with the Rugrats, cause grief for you. So he's talking about the stereotype, or the not stereotype, but the typical character of what a brother does whenever he's infused into a sitcom. And so he's saying, I'm just playing my part. I'm doing this, this, and this. And so to him, it is just he's acting. So he knows what's going on. He knows what, in kind of the same way that he was able to break the fourth wall that was being broken by looking straight at Billy when he was talking. He totally knows what's going on and what's happening throughout this whole thing.
he asks one, he's like, "That's what that's what you wanted, isn't it?"
Mhm.
That was one of those lines that kind of stuck, where there's a lot more going on with him than we know.
And she asks the question, he asks it back, what happened to your accent? Well, what happened to yours?
Yep. Yep.
So, and which
He
is
shot back at her.
was interesting because when she's in Westview, apparently she doesn't have it, but when she walks out of it, she does. But yeah, he just explains it by saying, details are fuzzy. But I really liked his next line where he says, "I got shot like a chump in the street for no reason at all," and that's a direct callback to Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone like Quicksilver with a speedster should not be shot with a bullet. That that's just doesn't make any sense. But yet that's how he died, of course, in Age of Ultron. And so he's saying, I got shot like a chump on the street for no reason at all. And so I think it's really interesting that he's calling back. It's not calling back to what he did in Days of Future Past or Apocalypse, any of that. He's calling back what happened to the Marvel version of Quicksilver, even though he's the Fox version.
So on this, I think is really interesting because this poses the good point or question. Is he Pietro infused with this reality's version of his memories, or does this make him sus?
Oh, he's totally sus.
Yeah,
But
I would say it's definitely sus.
Especially at this point, like, because I just remember after this point, just kind of doing that, what?
Peter is the imposter.
Well, and if you remember how he acted in his personality and how he reacted to everybody and acted in those movies, this is the same character. If you watch Age of Ultron again, Pietro Quicksilver in that had some little quips in here and there, but he wasn't really the guy that would shotgun a beer or shotgun a soda. He's not the guy that would go around and spray silly string on everybody and steal their candy and do all of that.
Dark and brooding versus quick and witty.
Yeah, basically. And so the quick and witty is what is being written for him here in this season or in this series. So it seems like it's, in my opinion, the X-Men version, the Fox version, infused into this, and not just the character coming over, the actor coming over, and he's taking the place of the Marvel. So I think that's what they're talking about here. I got shot like a chump on the street for no reason at all.
Right.
Well, he didn't get shot. The Marvel version is, but now that he's in this universe, it is him now that got shot like a chump.
Right.
So yeah, that's
He remembers
so I
it and
think
he doesn't understand it. And
yeah, it's definitely sus, but I think he's acting very consistent with who his character was in the Fox universe. So yeah,
I agree with all that.
I like that.
but he said the next
I do
thing
too.
I heard was you calling me. So apparently she called him back from the dead because he's saying I died like a chump. But next thing I heard was you calling me. So we know that um, Vision, his body was stolen and she reanimated and did all of that. So does that mean she somehow went and found this body? Or is she literally able to raise someone from the dead? Is she getting that powerful that she's able to raise someone from the dead?
Right.
What do you guys think?
I think she could have. I mean, this could be alternate universe. I guess be Peter in this case that got pulled through. Something caused the terror that we'll find out eventually. That's now connected the two universes. Her, she could bring Vision back because there was still, a body there. She could grab him. Pietro was so long ago, but she, and she's able to infuse Vision with thoughts and directives and things, which he's, starting to break away from now. But early on, she had total control. And so somehow she was able to, whatever caused that rip, she's able to see through to the other side, right? To this other universe. And okay, well, there's my brother. I can pull him over, and then she infuses, Peter with Pietro's memories. So he remembers those. She didn't infuse him with his personality though, because he's still Peter, but he's just Peter with Pietro's memories. And that's why everything is so off to him, and why he's like, okay, well, this is what you expect me to do, because he's still kind of fresh. She still has some control. Or somebody, brought him over, dumped him in, and did the exact same thing without her knowledge, and gave him, like, okay, well, we can't get Pietro, but we can go reach this hole in space and time and pull over Peter, and that's close enough, I guess. So we'll infuse him with the
I
memories.
agree with Kyle. Yeah, I agree with Kyle on this. I think Wanda's getting more powerful the longer she's doing this. I think her powers are growing. And here's the thing is I think this is all a reference is, again, I don't think that I think that Marvel's retconning this to where Strucker didn't give them their powers, but just unlocked what was already there.
Yeah.
With the Mind Stone.
If they do it right, they can make that work.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's how they did the Inhumans, was the Terrigen Mist and all of that.
Right. And I think that's kind of, I think that's what they're going for right now at this point. The way that it's going, that's what I think right now. And I'm wondering if Wanda is also, if she's getting so strong right now, I'm wondering if she's almost like a living Infinity Gauntlet at this point too. She has the power to control all the stones. She has the power to bring the stones back. That's kind of the way I'm leaning right now, but I agree with what you both said about the theories too. And that's the thing again. I don't know. These are just our best guesses.
I think it's really that she's not controlling him the way everyone else in town is controlled.
Right.
Doesn't know what he's going to do. She's telling him, you're such a bad influence, you're this and that. Well, if she was controlling him, he wouldn't be a bad influence. If she was controlling him, half the stuff he was doing or saying, he wouldn't be saying. And so it's really interesting who she's controlling and who she's not, and why. And so
then get some credence to the the other universe Peter idea. Like he's close enough that she can infuse him with the memories, but he's not exactly Pietro, and so he still has enough free will to kind of do these things that's against what she thinks, and it could be there's times where she doesn't seem like she Like she genuinely doesn't seem like she knows how any of this is happening. And I don't know if that's an act or if that's really true. And it could be there's there's split Wanda. There's Wanda that's really in
I kind of
control
believe her.
and taking care of business, but she relinquishes power to Happy and Content to be in, suburbia Wanda until she has to come back and take over again and get the shit in order. And when you see that switch flip where Crazy Wanda's in control, so like a split personality type thing, where one knows what the other one's doing, but the other one doesn't know it's being done to them.
So I got nothing to add to that. That was very well said. I thought I did. I'm like, I got a point. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Kyle pretty much covered everything I was just gonna say. The boys want to go off trick-or-treating. Wanda tells them do not go, and they go past Ellis Street. Remember this. This is going to be very important for my next point that's going to come up once we get there.
Let me guess. Something dealing with Mephisto.
No, not at all.
I have something that I thought about. But we also found out that Tommy has powers here. Because you know what Tommy does?
Was it this part here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he ran.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, they've got full-size candy bars," and then runs and comes back, and Peter's like, "Right on, little dude." So
Yeah, his face was amazing too. It's like in the family.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. But he said something like Maxim. No, he didn't say anything there. Okay, never mind.
But he grabs Billy's hand and they run off. Tommy grabs Billy's hand, they run off. Super speed.
this is where she says, "Don't go to
Past Ellis.
Ellis Avenue."
Mm-hmm. And which was amazing because this shows that the twins are starting to manifest powers.
Mhm.
So we see our terrific trio, Darcy and Monica and Jimmy, breaking into, looks like their control room. I'm assuming their server room. And Darcy's like, here, give me a little bit. I got to break into this. And she just breaks into this laptop so easy.
So does she have a PhD in astrophysics and hacking? Or
She's an anonymous.
just because she has a PhD in astrophysics, it means she can hack? So,
No, I think it's because she's good with social media.
okay, because that was my thing, was that since when is she? But that's okay. I'm questioning too much, so we can move on.
So, and this is just funny because this is the IT guy and me cracking up. So when they're showing the background of this, they're showing all these, in this big server room, this control room, and they have all these switches in there, network switches, but there's nothing plugged into them. There is no Ethernet cables plugged into them. There is no uplink cables because the uplink's on the front for the GBICs, for the uplinks to get the internet and everything to get the network working, and there's nothing there. It's completely blank. Now you know.
Something that kind of bugged me a little bit. So she's on a tough book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those haven't been made in a while. I'm like pretty sure those
They have.
haven't. They have? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
in, in that
our
style.
work bought some not too long ago. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking that. Well, I was just looking at the screen ratio though, like 4:3. It's like, man, that's like the old.
We got some at my work for our mechanics because they work, out in the garage fixing
Okay.
the buses and everything, and they look almost exactly like. And ours are actually a lot thicker than that one.
Okay, well, never mind then.
So there.
I'll just.
So there. I
Fine.
mean, not saying that you're wrong, but you're wrong.
And it be that every time period they try to find tech that is relevant to that time period
Mhm.
and use tech. So it could be that they're just trying to use tech that's relevant to the time period of the late 90s, early 2000s, which would be when the Tough Book really took off. So
But that's only if they're going inside. This is outside in the sword base.
I'll
Oh, okay.
throw them a bone.
I'm just really looking at all these Tough Book models now, trying to see which one. You think I'm kidding? I've got a. Which Tough Book was it? It's not that one.
If you see
It's
Two
book
Girls,
31.
One Tough Book, do not go there.
That is
Okay,
definitely
hold on. Go back to incognito.
That's a that's a very specialized website.
Turn on my VPN and get out the.
It's, so they're looking, and Darcy gets in, and she's going more in, trying to get into more of the firewalls, and then Jimmy goes. They figure out Tyler is hiding a hell of a lot more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
He has tabs on every single person in there, so he knows what's going on, how many people they're looking at. And Jimmy's just confused. And then what I loved about this part is all of a sudden it said reacquiring asset. And then it zeroes in like GPS to this big red dot walking. And it's the only thing walking. Everything else is still. Then we go over to Vision, who's walking down the street. This means that Tyler has something where he can keep tabs on Vision. When he was taken apart, maybe they put like some sort of tracker in there. I actually have a really, really big theory on this too, as we get a little bit further into this, about what Vision is.
It's only prudent to low jack your Vision. Like you want, you gotta have that on.
Jack your Vision.
Yeah. Said the program is tracking the vibranium or decay of vibranium or something like that.
Right.
So since that's what Vision is made of, it could just be
vibranium synthesoid.
Tracking what the vibranium is.
Mm-hmm. It could be, or again, I've got a theory as we get further into this.
I think I know where you're going with it too.
I think you might too, actually.
I think I know where you're going with it. So
he thinks
so.
For everyone listening, he thinks Mephisto is a Vision.
never mind.
For everyone listening, Justin's getting in the same car as Director Dick right now.
Oh,
Dick.
As Director Dick from here on out.
You just go walking around your house referring to yourself as Director Dick from now on.
Director Dick walking in the room.
And only talking the third, dude.
Director
like
Dick
only talking
pancakes.
the third. Director Dick needs a Coke. Announce every time you go to the bathroom. Director Dick going to the bathroom.
My penis would also be named Director Dick. So Director
or would that be Private Dick?
That'd be Assistant Director Dick.
Assistant Director.
There you go. Kyle gets it.
He'd be Ass Dick. So Vision's walking down the street, and what strikes you immediately is nothing is moving but the lights in this. If you notice, like, the lights move, like there's a couple flickering lights, like from the lampposts. But none of the adults, none of the kids are moving. And this is getting further and further outside of Times Square. And there's he goes to some Asian lady in red glasses and like wearing like a little pumpkin necklace. And I think doesn't he ask her, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm. It's like asking like, "That's your kid. Are you watching?" Yeah. And she's just nothing.
Like she's not moving. So which means the further outside of town you're getting, looks like the less control Wanda has.
what I thought was really cool is if you watch that scene, it looks like something from Halloween, the horror movie, to where it's like, before when it was everybody was trick or treating and the families around. Basically, when Wanda's around, it's bright colors and people are having fun. Now it's foggy, it's dark. There's little lights here and there, but it's very eerie.
And they're
And
flickering.
like how the tone changes whenever it's Vision trying to figure out what's going on in this. So
Right.
I thought that was shot beautifully.
You can kind of
Well, and-
see the end of the cul-de-sac there. Just talking about like visuals and stuff. The colors you have the yard decorations that are set out, the tombstones and whatever. And one side is kind of that green, Vision green. The other side is red. That caught me. And
Lights
it's really hard to make out, but he's standing. There's a part where he's standing in front of a stop sign. You can see the street sign above it, and I think you may be able to see it on the map earlier too. This is Rolling Hills, and I think that's a product reference earlier in the show on something like a juice box or something that the kids have.
It was the milk carton.
Milk
The milk
carton.
carton had Rolling Hills.
Yep.
Vision switches over to Synthezoid Vision from Goofy sitcom Vision. And because he notices the kids aren't moving, nothing is moving. And he flies up into the air, which I thought this was just a cool scene. Because as he's looking around, you look towards the center of town, there's all these lights on. And then as he starts panning around, there's very, very sparse lights. You hardly see anything. Then he turns, a 180, and it looks like there's one solitary car by this intersection. So he flies down to see who it is, what's going on, and why this car isn't moving. He touches down and he looks, and who is in the car? It's Agnes. She's dressed like a witch, but it's Agnes, which I thought it was hilarious. Agnes was dressed as a witch.
Mhm.
And he kept asking her, Agnes, what are you doing? And she wasn't moving. Her face stayed the same. And what did she reply to him? What was the line?
She was trying to go to the town square scare. And she said something about how she made a wrong turn. And he said, in the town you grew up in. But yeah, she just has this faraway look saying she got lost.
Yeah, he said, yeah, exactly. And Agnes is she's not moving, which was just odd. And, Vision kind of makes a joke of it, but he's dressed up like Vision. And then when she says took a wrong turn, her eyes start completely tearing up.
Yeah.
And then Vision is looking, and he's like, okay, there's no one around. So he releases her. He does the mind trick. And Agnes is just like, what the hell is going on? Where am I? And then she looks and she goes, you're one of the Avengers. She immediately recognized Vision as one of the Avengers. And she grabbed his hand and goes, are you here to help us? This scene makes me think that Agnes is not Agatha Harkness. You want to say something?
Well, I don't know, because it definitely makes it to where she's just another person.
Mm-hmm.
But having her dressed as a witch, I mean, all of these nods throughout the entire show. I mean, it has to be.
It could be she's getting overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
but then
she's known the whole time.
why even bring her in if she's just going to be overpowered and be another character?
Right.
So that's what confused me about this, is because it just shows that she's being controlled like anyone else who doesn't have powers, who isn't a witch, unless she's faking it, that type of thing. But how she desperately reacts to Vision, and your Vision, you're an Avenger, all of that. Are you here to save us? It doesn't seem like an act. So I'm interested to see where this goes, because that totally like put all of my theories to the side.
because I thought she would be like Peter, where it'd be like, "Hey, Vision. Oh wait, she's not around. Cool. So you're cool." She would break the fourth wall, if you will, with Vision, but she didn't. She's part of it.
So she still could be Agatha Harkness. I I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know. Again, this damn show is throwing us for loops left and right. What we think we know is wrong. What we think we know, we're right on some things.
Yeah.
And did you just talk about how she said, am I dead? Because she said that. She repeated that like 2 times, I think. She said, am I dead? And he said, why? And she said, because you're. And he goes, because I'm what? And she said, dead. And then here's what I thought was really interesting when she just started yelling at him, dead, repeating dead, 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 dead. Like something broke.
Mm-hmm. Almost a callback to that first episode where
Mhm.
the wife kept saying,
Yeah.
"Stop it, stop it." So yeah,
What I mean, what if she could still be Agnes? We're kind of we may have got a hint earlier in the episode about her still being able to be Agnes, like we think she should be, and her still being able to be completely clueless because she's far away from Wanda right now. She's functioning. She's still functioning though, right? So she's
Right,
outside.
right.
She's further. She's even further away than the frozen adults and the kids and stuff. She's still able to function somewhat. So she's closer to Wanda. Maybe she's a little bit stronger or whatever. But and we're thinking that Wanda has the ability to transplant memories and things into people, like we're seeing with Peter, where he's Peter, but he's Pietro. He's got a little bit of both in there and things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what if she is, she got double wiped? So she is Agnes, but she's now Agnes with this alternate personality
Yeah.
implanted in there that she is controlling. And the reason that she could be there is think back to maybe the commercial, and the shark isn't Mephisto. The shark's Wanda, and Agnes is the little kid on the beach. Or
Yeah.
the other way around, that Wanda has started draining Agnes's abilities and powers and things, and has drained her down because Yo Magic is for survivors.
Mm-hmm.
And so she needs to draw off of her power to be able to maintain what she's doing. Because I thought that was really odd that everybody else that were the minor parts were frozen, and she is so much further out than everybody else, and she's still able to, she's not holding a very coherent conversation, but she's still able to talk to him and communicate. He couldn't talk to the lady in the cul-de-sac that was further into town, but he could talk to
Right.
Agnes, and she could talk back to him, and then he, mind flipped her and brought her back out of it. But I think she could still be Agatha and just kind of double mind wiped.
mm-hmm. Well, if you think back to last episode, like Wanda's so comfortable with her that she's allowing her to see her use her powers. The
Yeah.
kid's grown, and it's no big deal. So that's why I thought she was in on it, kind of like Peter. But that's why this threw me for a loop, is because it totally goes back. But that what you're saying makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Wanda
Makes
seems to be
absolute sense.
maybe a little bit stronger or a little bit more stable when Agnes is around, when Agnes is close by.
That's
And
true.
Agnes is further away now, and she's having these issues back at Town Square, talking with Peter about your accent, and him telling him saying things that's out of character to Wanda, things that she's not expecting him to say. And Agatha's nowhere close by, so that she could be like her anchor, like where she's having to draw a little bit of extra power from her for now.
Well, and in the comics, she was her anchor too,
Mm.
multiple times. So that makes a lot of sense. Vision tells Agnes at this point, I want to reach these people outside of Westview. And she said, how? No one leaves, the line that really struck out to me here was Wanda won't even let us think about it. Which shows, again, Wanda's psychologically torturing these people. They have no free will. And then Agnes just starts doing this maniacal laugh and, just mumbling all is lost.
That was
and
such
just
a witch laugh too.
laughing. Yeah, it was.
That was so good.
Okay, that's what I thought too. And Vision touched her in the head again, and she, went back under Wanda's control. Said, "I'll fix this." And she looked and gave this creepy smile. I don't know if you guys thought it was as creepy as I did, but when she goes, "Okie dokie, neighbor,"
Mhm.
and does a turnaround. And here's where I said it was extremely important to remember the name Ellis Street, or Ellis Avenue, excuse me. As she's turning around, the only part of that sign that you can really see, you can see the stop sign, because it's right there, big and red. But Ellis Avenue, you can read it completely, while Rolling Hill, the other street, is dark. But you can see Ellis Avenue. I think this is a throwback to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Iron Man 3. The president at the time was President Ellis.
Mhm.
So this could be a nod to Iron Man 3 and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He would have been the president around. No, he would have been president just before, because she didn't come around to Age of Ultron, which that was phase 2. But I think this could be a nod to President Ellis.
Or the stop sign is Mephisto.
Or the stop sign is Mephisto. You guys are going to be so sad when I'm right and it is Mephisto.
Well, what it made me think of was Supernatural, where there's crossroad demons, and this is the only crossroad we've seen, and Mephisto being a demon. Therefore, we're seeing this crossroad because of Mephisto is going to be in this. So that's where I thought you were going, and I was going to.
Oh, nope. Like, that was way beyond what I was just going for simple. Oh,
So-
that's President Ellis, because I just got done watching Iron Man 3.
With the crossroads logic, that means Agnes is now either going to be she's going to be an extremely great either fiddle or guitar player after this crossroad interaction. She's going to pick up those skills.
And Charlie Daniels is going to come in.
Oh God! Imagine Charlie Daniels as a
Too soon?
X-Man. No, not at all. I would love to see him come back and be an X-Man.
As an
Yes, sir.
X-Men, that would be awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
If anyone can bring back, it would be Wanda.
Be the fiddler.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
We get back to Darcy hacking into the system, and you look at the medical project MS-247. I think that's a reference to one of the comics, the Avengers comics, where we were introduced to Photon, Captain Marvel. If I remember my lore right, I could be wrong on that.
Could be.
But then Monica gets this text, and she said, this smile, my way back into the hex will be here in an hour. You just got to meet my guy over the ridge. I'm telling you, it's Reed Richards. It's going to be Reed Richards. I think this is how they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four. So I'm hoping next episode, we should see who this next guy is, or who this guy is next episode.
And,
So
and I'm not going to cheese and go out to IMDb because that would probably spoil who is going to be playing him. Who are you hoping to see?
I mean, we already know, if you've read anything about this show, who's playing Reed Richards.
We do? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
There's talk.
Him,
John Krasinski,
Okay,
John
yeah.
Krasinski.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that last. Okay.
Yep.
but
It's
the
been a week.
different projects, the numbers, and you mentioned that, like several of those numbers correspond with important Vision and Wanda
Comics.
and so like there's the 113 that's what I mentioned earlier, but that's the oh gosh, shoot, it'll take me a second. That's the one where something, I think it's the one where Wanda makes everyone pay, makes the world pay for Vision's death. 113, but several of those numbers did have
Significance.
significance to that. So right as that starts, whenever all those different files come up, you can at home sit there and pause it and then look it up and pause it and look it up. It's
Oh,
interesting.
Do you
Well,
think
that's
those
cool.
were clues or just fan service Easter eggs?
I think it's fan service Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean it goes real quick. Like you literally have to pause and pause, pause and pause, pause and pause, to be able to see each one because it's so quick. So that's why it makes me think it's some type of Easter egg just for fans.
Well, just like he did when Agnes was bent over with the bedazzled butt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, exact
Pause
same
and pause,
method.
pause and pause.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Monica's ready to get back into the hex. And Darcy tells her, "You cannot do that." And she's like, or Jimmy, who, like one of my favorite lines, "Sure we can. I'm a whiz at hot wiring cars." And and Monica jokes she can just worst thing that happens is she's gonna put me on what'd she say, bell bottom jeans or something,
Jeans or
Low rise.
ultra low rise jeans.
Hmm.
And removes her free will. And she said, "Hayward has your blood work." And this is super important. This gets to another one of my theories. You've gone through it twice, and it's rewritten your cells at a molecular level. It's changed you. I think this is how they're going to bring now. I think this is how they're bringing mutants into the fold. I think this is saying if you've been inside the hex, you've been rewritten. You're now a mutant. I think this is how they're going to be mutants, because mutants aren't huge, but there's like what 3,800 people in there right now, give or take.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a feeling they're all going to be mutants at this point.
So in the comics, wasn't Monica Rambeau the
Captain Marvel, Photon.
So but she's not considered a mutant in
Mm-mm.
comics.
No, she got her powers. I believe it was. They're originally from the nega bands, the quantum bands, I believe.
So do you think they're trying to rewrite how she got her powers, or maybe rewrite her powers and leave Carol Danvers as
Infinity Stone power
as the Captain Marvel, and then they're going to
Mhm.
bring her in as something different?
I bet they're going to bring her in as Photon. With as many times as they've mentioned Photon
True.
on this, I bet she's going to be Photon. She won't be Captain Marvel. I bet she'll be Photon. Number one. Number two, again, I think this is how they're writing mutants into the fold. Because if they're saying it's rewriting you at a molecular level, I think this is how they're getting mutants into the universe.
Yeah. Because they really haven't. Some of her other aliases were Photon, Daystar, Spectre, Lady of Light. They haven't mentioned that, but man, you've seen Photon several times.
You see Photon almost every episode at this point.
So I mean, it's almost as often as you see hexes, and so
Yeah.
that has to be reinforcing that. Yeah, she's going to be Photon.
I didn't see as many
So that-
hexes in this episode either. Now that you mentioned that, like before, you would see them everywhere. You were looking. I just didn't catch as many.
It's many. There wasn't. There wasn't as many, but it was still there.
Yeah,
Like
there
when
were the super hidden.
Tyler
ones
was
and-
there. Yeah, they weren't. No, you're absolutely right. It wasn't the in your face.
Yeah.
They go back, and then now we're back inside the hex in the middle of the town square. And Wanda and Pietro are talking. And this is super pivotal because this is what makes you put Pietro as super sus at this point. They're talking, and he basically looking off the distance, and he says, "I think mom and dad would have loved it." And she's like, "Yeah, I think they would have." And they're watching the kids run by, and then Pietro has this look on his face, like this all-knowing look, and he asks her, "Where were you hiding these kids up till now?" because again, we didn't see these kids before.
Mm.
And he has just this look on his face. So at this point, when you guys heard this part and then saw Wanda's face, what did you guys think? Like, what were the thoughts that were running through your head at this part?
I liked that it was going back to the tropes of typical sitcoms, because he says something about no need to traumatize them except for the occasional holiday episode or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's breaking the fourth wall with her, saying, "Hey, I totally understand. Yeah, I just want to know where you got them, but I understand if they've just been sleeping in their beds the whole time because, you just need kids for this episode." So that's what my first thought was, man, it's cool that they're continuing this trope. What do you think, Al?
I agree with you on that. That he really, how he's breaking it down, and like I said, her look is that just that kind of look of shock, and you see it. She has that a lot more this episode, and so that's where you start really questioning things. Of, is he planted in there? Is this something that's outside of her control? Did Sword put him in there? Did somebody else put him in there? Does she have this split thing? I'm still kind of liking my whole, she's doing things without knowing that she's doing things. She's grief stricken and all that she's doing things to cope and doesn't know that she's doing them. And, so he's talking with happy suburban Wanda right now.
Right.
And he really talks to him. He talks about, how you made life better here for everybody, not just yourself. You gave people better jobs, and look how happy they can be, and all this stuff.
Personalities aren't that far off from who they really are, so it's really humane what you're doing.
Yeah, it's very ethical. I think it's very ethical.
Well, and, he tells her too, he's not mad, he's impressed. This is a big leap from giving him nightmares and just hexing him.
Yeah. But to
And
go
then
Kyle's, her next line is, "You don't think it's wrong?" So that's alluding to that she knows what she's doing, and she's wanting some validation from him, saying, "You don't think what I'm doing is wrong?" He's like, "No, are you kidding me?" So it could be that it's switching between the suburban and the one who knows, suburban mom, soccer mom, and the one who knows. But I mean, she goes from the "what are you talking about?" and then when he's like, "Well, this, and this, and this, and this, it's actually quite impressive. You've done a great job with this, and this," and she's like, "Okay, well, he knows. So you don't think it's wrong?" So that makes me think that she does know everything and she is controlling everything.
He says one thing in their conversation that kind of still put some doubt in my mind and made me think like maybe he's a plant, because he's buttering her up, or he seems like he's buttering her up and making her comfortable to talk with him, because she's doesn't seem quite sure of Peter Pietro thing right now. Then he asked her, "How did you do this?"
mm-hmm.
And it's like he's trying to pull information out of her at that point, not for his knowledge, but for somebody else's knowledge, or some nefarious reason, possibly, or maybe not even nefarious, just trying to contain it.
Right. Well, then what makes me think that she doesn't consciously know she's doing all this was when she goes, "I just remember feeling alone, just empty." She's just, kind of it's that traumatized look you get when you just truly don't know, and you're just saying, "I just feel empty," which makes me think it's her subconscious. But then again, this damn show throws us for a loop that makes me think maybe he's not sus and he is Pietro, because she turns away and looks at him again, and then there's his costume. You just see like his chest, and there's these blood stains, like these 4 blood stains on there, like he just got shot, and it zooms out to his face, and it's just like dead vision. His eyes are glazed over like he's dead, and his skin's pale white, and he's got like blood from his mouth. just like our Quicksilver did in Age of Ultron when he died.
Yeah.
Which makes me think maybe this is Pietro.
I think the eyes are incredibly important.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the eyes are super important, and especially some things to come later. His eyes and Vision's eyes to lead on to there may be some things going on with this that's not totally Wanda involved.
And funny you should mention that, because then we go back to Darcy and she gets into a file and it's called Cataract. It's a weapons program. And then it says eyes only for Tyler Hayward. So
See,
I think you have something there.
and previously, when they were tracking Vision, the way they had him tagged, it wasn't. They had him tagged as an asset. Okay, and so a government military installation, they're not going to tag if they're looking for you and they're tracking you. They're not tagging you as if you're a missing person or you're anything of interest. You're still not tagged as an asset. You're tagged as an asset if you're something important to a program or something that's going on within that agency. And so
Right.
Sword has Vision classified not as dead, not as missing. They have Sword has Vision classified as an asset. They were doing something with Vision.
Which will come into my theory here in just a little bit.
Ooh, I'm waiting.
I think you might know where I'm going with this too.
I am. I don't want to stop. I'll pull back. I don't want to take your thunder on this. So I want to see what you say.
His thunder. He thinks it's Mephisto.
It's probably I think it's Mephisto. If you all don't know, I think Mephisto plays a big part of this show.
I think this whole thing is just happening in Mephisto's mind. Mm-hmm.
I gotta try and figure out. Okay, he's on a television. If you're watching this video, I gotta figure out how to turn this knob off.
Are you calling me
Oh, we
boss?
didn't turn our filters on.
No, we didn't. Oh, turn your filter on.
I was gonna say something, but I thought it's not my show. So
We gotta go back on TV. Okay, I'm back. Woo! We're back on TV. You pan to Hayward, he's looking, and you see this red dot moving towards the perimeter of the hex. And Hayward tells him to move out, and Darcy goes, "What are you doing?" Because it's Vision. It's Vision walking towards the perimeter of the hex. Vision's getting out. He stops in front of it momentarily, looks at it. And if he could breathe, you could almost see him like take this deep breath as he starts to walk through it. But as he's starting to walk through it, it's painful. It looks painful to him to walk through, if an android can feel. Synthesoid. Yeah. And, Sword is mobilizing to where he's going out. And again, the hex is red. And if you look at it, I think the hex at this point now looks like our ending credits on the digital. I think that's exactly what it looks like. And Vision finally walks out, and I don't know about you guys. I started actually yelling at the TV at this part when Darcy ran out right by all the damn soldiers when she's not supposed to be on this base. Like, this is one part I'm just like, what are you doing? No.
No, that's not what you're supposed to do at all.
No. And, Vision comes out and he's grunting, and you can see almost, I thought this is great. It looks like strings on him. I think, Justin, did you bring this up a couple episodes again? Or was it Kyle?
I don't remember what I talked about last week.
Reference to Ultron. But a piece of Vision goes flying back, and Darcy's like, "No, why are you helping him?" It's like, "No, what are you doing? Stop. You're going to get in trouble." And, Vision's basically calling out in pain, and then you pan out to Billy,
Hmm.
and Billy hears this Hayward saying, he's just looking out into nothing, just this intense look, and then you hear Hayward, he really does want out, doesn't he? And then Speed comes up next to him, and Billy holds out his hand and stops him with magic. So we see Tommy has inherited Pietro's powers. Billy has inherited Wanda's, it looks like. Except he's not glowing red, his is blue.
Mhm.
And then they go, Mom, and then they go looking for Wanda. And they just start saying, Dad's in trouble. He's in my head. And this part was just completely messed up to me too, is when we see Vision on the ground outside there, and he's decaying.
Yeah, turning back into what we saw in Infinity War.
Exactly. And which this goes to prove this Vision as we know can only exist within the hex.
It looks
Um,
so painful for him.
Oh yeah. And he's down on the ground. I mean, he's just decaying. And then he's down on the ground at this point, and they're handcuffing poor Darcy to one of the trucks.
And you knew that wasn't going to end well.
Right.
It never does.
And then, Billy's like telling, I don't understand what's happening because, he just got his powers. So he's confused. And then Wanda's like, where is he? Where's your dad? And this part this was messed up too. When Pietro goes, don't sweat it. It's not like your dead husband can die twice. And then Wanda just this look of just psycho, and turns and hits him with a hex bolt. And Pietro goes flying. And what I thought was really interesting was no one in town thought that was unusual.
Mhm.
Like they were all just going about their business. And then Billy's looking and he sees Vision like dying basically.
Mhm.
And he says they think that he's dying. And Wanda hexes up, everyone stops. Even the wacky waving inflatable man stops. I don't know if you guys caught that too.
Wacky waving.
Wanda closes her eyes, and then everything goes red. As you see Jimmy and Monica, they'd hotwired this Humvee, and they're driving out of town to go meet Monica's contact. And all of a sudden, the hex starts getting closer. Wanda is expanding the hex field. And Hayward, like a little bitch, just starts, tells everyone to get out of there. And Darcy's still handcuffed to this vehicle, along with some sword agents are still there. And they literally leave one of the guys that was guarding Darcy. And the stadium lights turn into like flagpoles. It goes over decaying Vision. He turns normal. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but I started cracking up too when Darcy goes, "Oh fudge."
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing was we see everyone else turn into something. We don't know what she turns into. And so we don't know if she is in this town, if she was turned into something, or if now I don't think they would kill her off for sure.
No.
I think that's kind of interesting, but yeah, the big stadium lights turn into string lights. The helicopter gets turned into an air balloon.
Yep.
And then everything gets turned into a circus, and the soldiers get turned into clowns. And
Which
there's
was just frightening.
a storyline where Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and oh shoot, I think it was Hawkeye. They actually join the circus, and so I don't know if this is a direct um, reference to that, or if it's just. But again, like we said, there's really not anything that's ever really chanced big things on this. So
So I think that is it's referencing whenever they actually join the circus. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Well, and then
when I saw the
Mhm.
circus pop up, I was really looking for like any reference to like Kurt Wagner or anything, because we don't know if we're tying more mutant stuff in, or hopefully that's where we're going. I mean, he's the only
Nightcrawler.
one of my favorites, and he
Amazing.
was that was a big part of his story, especially in the movies. Was he talked about the circus quite a bit, and so that's I'm kind of excited next week to be looking for any.
Please don't
little...
let Darcy be Nightcrawler.
Oh, I hope not. Well, she's
They
not
wouldn't-
German enough.
And they wouldn't change her gender and everything else like that. So I think I don't know. I don't know
Wouldn't they?
Darcy's character. Does she have an alternate like?
She was made up for the movies.
That's what I thought too. So really, they can do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they would turn her into Nightcrawler. They'd
I
probably,
don't think they would either.
No.
yeah.
And didn't she make Darcy make a reference to like when she was being bussed in to the camp, something about circus or clowns or
Did she?
something like that?
Okay. So someone go back and listen to our episode where Darcy gets busted and let us know. Put it in the Discord or on the Facebook page. So Tyler is just, they're flooring it. And that the hex barrier almost, I mean, this thing is just engulfing. It looks like at this point, it just keeps going. Like, we don't know how far they've driven, but we know that they're flooring it.
Yeah.
And it hits the back of the vehicle, but they didn't show if it actually hit the vehicle or not. And they keep going, and Tyler keeps going, is anyone there? Is anyone there? And it goes over, one of my favorite parts was, made the sign more like 80s. And then they go over a current car dealership, and then it turns into one of those 90s car dealerships. And he just pleading, can anyone hear my voice? Which means this thing got everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready about what my theory is about Vision? Well, and
Yes.
then it ends with Wanda opening her eyes and they're red, and then they stop being red, and we get the typical ending scene. So going along with what you said, how he's an asset, how they were taking him apart, how Sword is the Sokovia Accords are in place, how Sword's in charge of policing them, how Sword is, the next generation, next tech stuff, the high-tech stuff. I think they turned Vision into a Sentinel. And that's how they can keep track of him.
Ooh.
And he's an asset. I think he might be a Sentinel.
Like the
And
first
that would-
Sentinel then?
The first Sentinel, like Sentinel Prime. And
Hmm.
I think that's how, because there's a theory going around too, that Tyler could be Ultron. There was a comic story where I think he was a senator, that he was totally against the Avengers and like just, blocked him at every chance he could. He ended up being Ultron in human form. There's this theory that Tyler could be Ultron. I don't think that one has a lot of bite to it.
Yeah.
But I think that Vision might be the Sentinel. He could be the Sentinel we're looking for. But I think he could be a Sentinel, and this is how they're going to start policing the mutants too.
I don't know. I don't think it depends on how much of Vision is retained. So how much of his personality, because this is a dude that could pick up Thor's hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So the purest of pure. So I don't think he would then hunt down mutants or hunting down people just because they were different and try to kill them. So I don't know. It depends on how much of Vision is retained.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see Vision actually doing that. And of course, in this show, he's being controlled,
Right.
and I can understand that. But even him being controlled here, he's showing his humanity, or he's showing
Right.
empathy. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know.
But
I don't know if I subscribe to that, but I can see it happening.
but he's also Vision when he's inside the field. He can only be Vision within the field. And if you
He doesn't
remember,
remember
Vision wasn't
anything though.
right. If you remember, Vision was in pieces too.
Mhm.
How did he, get put back together? I mean, it could be like Wanda, like when she's putting together the crib by the hex magic. But I mean, he could be a Sentinel. That's how they're keeping track of him. They could have implanted stuff in him and him not know it. He is a synthezoid. He's not real. Or you know what I mean, though. He's not a real person. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's just I'm just swinging for the fences right now. But with all this mutant talk, it makes me think, Sentinels, that was a big enemy. Maybe he's going to be the first of the Sentinel line. This is how they're going to introduce Sentinels into the line. Because if you remember Days of Future Past, the Nimrod Sentinels kind of very Vision-like,
Yeah.
in that they could adapt to anything. I mean, that's what a Sentinel is. So I don't know.
Could be that. Could be. Okay. Here's my long shot theory of the week. That's all going to wrap up. So we're going to find out that he wasn't a Sentinel. This was all a plot to get Wanda to her peak ability. Because that was some of the Fox X-Men. A little bit of that lore was, extreme stress brings out with the right influence brings out the gene. That's what happened with Deadpool. He got dosed, and then he got, tortured, and then boom, it activated the X gene. But they're trying to see, trying to get Wanda to her maximum ability before she is recruited into whatever it is that's going to be going on. It's not actually Sword that's doing it. It is Sword, but it's not Sword. Sword's got a deep hand in it. And as right before the final credits roll and things wrap up in the last episode, Hayward will still be alive. He'll turn and look at the camera as he walks away, and his eyes will turn yellow.
You think it'll be Mystique or Sinister?
I'm thinking Mystique. I'm not thinking this is what's going to happen, but that's my long shot theory that
I think
that
that'd
will
be a really fun one.
that would be really cool.
Or Sinister. Sinister's high tech, into genetic stuff, holds on to people's genetics mutations, their DNA codes. That's a long shot. That's a way long shot.
Yeah, I
I like
the
your theory,
Mystique one
though.
because of the old school Mystique and Magneto tie in, and you have Magneto with those two, and you have Magneto's actual son, if that is Peter instead of Pietro in there. He's inside the hex now, so
I like that one.
if Hayward's
So
eyes turn yellow, I'm just gonna flip my shit and say, "Ha! I called it with my long shot."
I'm out.
I'm out, boys.
So if you guys like what we're saying, if you disagree with what we're saying, go to our Discord channel, start a discussion. Justin and B Rob had a great discussion about a week and a half ago.
Yep.
Come on in. We need some more chatter in that Discord channel.
We do.
But yeah, start some topics, give us some discussion, tell us what you think. With that, Kyle, what'd you learn this week?
What did I learn this week? I'll let you know tomorrow what I learned, if letting my water drip was enough or not. Currently, this storm coming through, I've got no water going in the house as of about midway through the day.
So this is what we'll find out for our next Nerky. What Kyle learned.
Justin, if I show up unkempt and then showered, you know that it's really screwed.
Justin, what'd you learn?
I found out I can bedazzle sweats and wear them and feel just pretty.
If our next Nerky you are not wearing bedazzled sweats, I am going to be highly disappointed.
What should it say on the butt? Because Naughty's already taken, Juicy's already taken. What should it say on the butt? How about we people chime in on the Discord?
It's a bit nerdy.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. Vote what Justin is going to be dazzle on his ass for the next Nerky.
I think Nerky.
Mhm.
But yeah, just Kyle put a poll out there.
I'll
Or
have
not
that
even
out there.
poll, just put something out there for it.
Well, with me being in sweatpants, I think several polls will be out there, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, no, you didn't.
It's really cold though. But anyway,
It is really cold. The water was cold.
water was cold, I swear.
It was shrinkage.
And what did you learn, sir?
I learned that Kat Denning had no clue that she was coming back for WandaVision. They called her up. They cold called her, said, "Do you want to come back as Darcy?" And she said, "Yes, whatever it is, I'll do it." You know, in the very Cat way. Yes, whatever it is, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. I'll do it. She didn't even know she was coming back for WandaVision. She just knew she was replaying the character.
Nice.
So, Kyle, what are you reading or watching this week?
So this last, you're talking about what I've done this last week, or okay. So reading, I read House of M. It's a lot quicker than I thought it would be. Like I got through it, you know, a lot faster than I thought I would have. But I did kind of rush through it. I think I got through it in about like an hour and a half reading it. So I want to go back and reread and look for some finer details. But it was really good. And I have almost finished my run on all the Fox X-Men movies. I think all I have left right now is like Logan, Deadpool 2, and Dark Phoenix, maybe.
You
Dark
don't
Phoenix?
even need to. Yes, you don't even need to watch that.
But I have to.
I know you have to.
I've got to complete the run.
You're like I am. You're a completionist, but
well, when I told you I was going back and I was plowing, I was going to go through all those, and I was like, "Hey, I'm on, X2." Like, you don't even have to watch those. Like, I'm going to, but you really don't have to watch those. Like, but I have to. Like, I can't not do this, you know. And I'm really glad I did. So I'm glad I didn't listen to you.
Good, Justin.
New thing that I'm watching. So in honor of the Lunar New Year, there's a really great movie that's on Netflix. It was nominated for a Golden Globe for animation. It's called Over the Moon.
Yep.
So it's about basically a girl who was told a fable growing up about a long lost or a princess who's on the moon and long lost love, and so in very Pixar up and soul fashion, there's a death very early on, and so it's actually pretty good. It's a musical, but it also has very much of the Pixar style animation. So so I'd recommend that to anyone, especially anyone that has kids. But even if you don't have kids, I think you'll enjoy it. So that's what I'd recommend.
Well, and it pulls heavy from Chinese mythology too.
Yes.
Heavy.
And lunar, for those that aren't sure, Lunar New Year is also called Chinese New Year, but many different Asian cultures celebrate Lunar New Year. So was what, 3 days ago, 4 days ago?
It was Friday, 2 days ago.
Okay, 2 days ago. There you go.
So we celebrated it in my house. So
I did not get a red envelope from you. I'm still a little bitter.
I'll send you a red rocket in the mail. Hello, in the envelope.
Yeah.
What I watched this past week was since we're going through the MCU movies, I'm rewatching all the MCU movies. So I am on Captain. I just got through Dark World, and I am on Winter Soldier now.
Nice.
Just started Winter Soldier, and then I discovered I have all the Marvel movies in 4K except for Winter Soldier. So I had to reorder that.
Do you have Disney Plus?
Mhm.
Well, I guess you do since we're watching WandaVision.
Yes,
On that,
with
if
4K.
like we have the Apple 4K,
Yeah,
Apple TV, so everything on Disney Plus is Dolby and Atmos, and so
that is correct. But I
you-
have them all in 4K physical media,
right,
except for that one.
So are you watching them
So-
on the physical media? Are you watching them on
No.
the Blu-ray disc?
No, I'm watching them through Vudu, but you directly benefit by me getting this 4K anyway. So, yeah. So it literally that's the only Marvel movie left that I don't have in 4K. So I started twitching when I figured that out. Like literally, I'm like, I gotta get it. So
Just scratch that itch.
I'm on. Yeah, I know. I'm on Winter Soldier right now. So we're getting there.
I'm gonna rewatch that one whenever we get it. That's out of the whole run, still one of my favorite movies out of all of them.
quite possibly. That was the movie I was so excited to see, and the one that totally paid off. God, I love that movie. It's so good.
It's a great movie, and then we'll discuss that during our MCU Phase 2.
Yep.
Ironically enough, yesterday we got through MCU Phase 1 Part 3, and we only got through
Captain America.
Captain America.
And we really didn't even get super deep into Captain America. Really?
No. We didn't
covered-
get it. We got through Thor.
Oh, we got through Thor. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, Captain America's tomorrow. We're recording again tomorrow, and it's just gonna be. We're only gonna get. I guarantee you, it's only gonna be First Avenger.
So
Yeah.
we're going to be Phase 8 by the time you get through just Phase 3.
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's not even gonna be that. It's gonna be like Phase or Part 16, subsection 3.
I did not think we would talk about Thor as long as we did.
I did
I
because
really
we just start getting into it.
well. I know, but
But Dark World, oh good lord, that's just an abortion. It's awful.
It's got its points.
But then totally redeemed with Taika Waititi. So yeah,
Yep.
just all of the Thor news with the next one, Love and War. Is that right?
Love and Thunder.
Thunder. There you go.
Love and Thunder.
So the principal photography or principal shootings already is done with all of the Guardians that are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just finishing up. So it sounds like it's really pushing through. But I'm excited to see Christian Bale as the baddie. So I can't wait. Because he said you either die as a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Mhm.
Lived long enough to become the
Villain. Well, and Love and Thunder is pulling from the more current Thor stories mythology, and I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who doesn't know anything about it yet because we'll discuss that at some other point.
Oh, can I give away all the spoilers?
He can if you want.
So Kat Denning, who plays Darcy, becomes Thor. So there you go.
He's so full of shit right now.
I'm really full of shit. I'm not gonna give away spoilers.
I'm ready for
it's
it.
Korg. It's Korg. Korg becomes the new Thor.
That would be awesome.
It's
all Ghost.
Yeah. So it goes, and then he goes after what is it, Noob Killer or whatever it was, Noob Hunter. He's back. So yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. So with that, we've kept you guys long enough.
Mhm.
Thank you for sticking with us. We really appreciate you all.
Yeah, very much.
I hope you guys enjoy listening to this as much as we enjoy doing this. This for me, this is a good outlet. So we really appreciate you all. So with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. This has been our Nerky. I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle, and thanks again to Justin for sitting in with us. We can't wait to see your bedazzled ass in the next episode.
Oh, and you shall see it.
Well, bedazzled sweatpants. Put them on the sweatpants. Like,
They
People-
have to be on the sweatpants.
Yeah, not your actual bedazzled ass itself, or whatever. It's free
That might be
country.
amazing in itself.
I will be on my OnlyFans page.
We'll see y'all later.
See you. You guys have a good one.
Bye bye.
Nerd Cork, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd Cork, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made up word. MCs shied away from belief. Rest assured they sleep hard no longer.